But I want to start with your baseball career, which is something you don't talk about too frequently. But what is the connection between habits and your baseball career? Did it start there, or is it before that?
Well, it was before that, but I wasn't thinking about it too carefully. All humans are building habits all the time. So, from the moment you're born, your brain is looking for ways to conserve energy, to be more effective and efficient, to solve the problems of life with less thought so that you can free up attention and energy to direct elsewhere or to just kind of get through your day more smoothly. And so, of course, there were all kinds of habits I built throughout my childhood. But I would say that baseball was the place where I was exposed to the ideas in a very explicit way. As any athlete can tell you, there are all kinds of habits that you're practicing in the gym or on the field and so on. And then, as I mentioned in the book, I suffered a very serious injury where I was hit in the face with a baseball bat. It was an accident, but the response from that, the fallout from that injury was very long. And so I couldn't drive a car for 9 months. I was practicing basic motor patterns, like walking in a straight line when I went to my first physical therapy session. And it was kind of this time in my life when I had to start small. I could only do a little bit each day. And so that was all that I could focus on. Of course, I just wanted to be able to flip this switch and get back to the person that I was before. But it was a very long and arduous process. And so I didn't have a language for it at the time. Now I write things like in Atomic Habits about getting 1% better each day or, finding small wins. And I never would have said that if you were coming up to me at the time, but I did have to practice it. And so I think that experience gave me some real life examples of what these concepts look like in practice. And then as I started researching and writing about the topic more in the decade to come, I had something to kind of root what I wrote about, and kind of root those experiences in the words I was writing. And this is something I feel like is central to my approach for writing in general, but specifically about habits, which is, it's a decent amount of work to have a thoughtful opinion, but anybody can have an opinion. It's much harder to practice something. And I try as best as possible to write about topics that I implement and don't just theorize on. And I think that makes the topics better. I think it makes the writing better because I have struggled with all the same things everybody else struggles with habits. It's like, do you procrastinate? Of course. Have you focused too much on the goal and not enough on the process? Yes, all the time. And so in a sense, everything I write is just a reminder to myself to try to come back to center or return to the fundamentals and focus on the things that actually deliver results in the long run.
Yeah, and part of that approach is identity-based goals, and that you kind of flip goals on their head. And this has been one of the stickiest pieces of your work for me personally. And for leaders out there, it's reframing their sentences to, instead of focus on results and revenue and things that can be tracked, it's starting the sentence with, I'm the kind of leader who. That is a very different approach. What is the power in that?
Well, first, I think it's natural for us to focus on results. This is coming from someone who, I consider myself to be very results-oriented. And results are highly visible. You're never going to see a news story that's like, man eats chicken and salad for lunch. It's only going to be a story after it's man loses 100 pounds, or you're never going to see people talking about James wrote 500 words today. It's only a story when it's James launches Atomic Habits and it's a bestseller. So the results of success are highly visible and widely discussed. And the process of success is often hidden and invisible and not really talked about. And I think that kind of gives us this bias towards overvaluing results and maybe undervaluing the process a little bit. It's all we ever talk about. It's all we ever see. Now, the typical discussion about habits is that the reason habits matter is because of the results they'll give you. They matter because they'll help you be more productive or more efficient. They matter because they'll help you get fit or make more money. And it's true that habits can do those things, and that's great. But I think the real reason that habits matter, the true reason, is that every action you take is like a vote for the type of person you wish to become. And so your habits are how you embody a particular identity. So for example, every day that you make your bed, you embody the identity of someone who is clean and organized. Or if you study biology for 20 minutes on Tuesday night, you embody the identity of someone who's studious. And all of your experiences in life matter. Like they all shape who you are and part of your story. But your habits, by virtue of the fact that they get repeated over and over again, they cast more votes on the pile. They provide the bulk of the evidence. And so as you repeat habits, each time it's like you add another vote and you start to shift the weight of the story in favor of being that kind of person. Like if you go to, go to the court and shoot basketball for 5 minutes, you don't instantly think, oh, I'm a basketball player. But if you show up and do it every day for a month or 6 months or a year or 2 years, like at some point you cross this invisible line where you're like, oh, I guess being a basketball player is like part of my identity. It's kind of part of who I am. And all of our experiences in life sort of work like that, where you're kind of reshaping and constantly retouching your identity. And so I think that's a crucial question to ask yourself is, who is the type of person I wish to become? And what habits reinforce my desired identity? How do I continue to add votes to that pile and shape the kind of person or the type of leader I would like to be? And once you begin to take pride in that aspect of your identity, it becomes easier to stick to the behavior. Like if you take pride in the size of your biceps, you'll never skip arm day at the gym. Like if you take pride in the way your hair looks, you have this long hair care routine, you do it every day. And so once something starts to become part of your story and it's something that you kind of like hang on to, you don't have to convince yourself to do the behavior in the same way that somebody who's like just getting started might have to. Like if you view yourself as I'm a runner, you don't have to motivate yourself to go for a run today in the same way that somebody who's just getting started might. It's like, no, this is just like part of who I am. It's part of what I do. So I think that is the real objective, the real end goal that we're trying to get to by building better habits is to connect or to shape your sense of identity. And once you view it as part of the person that you are, you're not even really pursuing behavior change anymore. You're just acting in alignment with the type of person that you see yourself to be. And ultimately, this is why I think small habits can matter so much. It's not because doing one push-up will transform your body. It's because doing one push-up casts a vote for, I'm the type of person who doesn't miss workouts. And it's not because sending one bit of positive praise to someone on your team makes you the world's best leader. It's because sending one bit of positive praise casts a vote for, I'm the type of leader who cares about their teammates. And so individually, they're small actions, but collectively, they start to shape this sense of self.
That's so good. Really paying attention to where you're casting those votes as a leader every single day in your business. Clearly, I've casted a lot of votes towards my hair care routine, not a lot towards my biceps. So thank you for that reminder.